Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find a link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the channel, subscribe to the video if you haven't done so already. I'm going to keep it really simple with the watch list. A lot of stuff is going on with banks failing and the FOMC that we just had happen. So I think a lot of the day's actions are going to be news driven. What happens overnight, what happens during the day. So that's why you need to be in the room, and we'll just play it day by day and news event by news event. I mean, that's just all you can do. When all it's going to take is one headline for the market to drop hard or pop hard, and that's what it's been doing for the last couple weeks. Anytime Powell speaks, or anytime a Fed speaks, or anytime bank fails or Yellen speaks, I mean, it's literally a circus right now, and it's just you just can't swing in these kind of markets because you don't know what's going to happen. So we just take it one day at a time, one news event at a time, and just what the day is giving us, and just play it based on what we see, and try to remain open-minded, because I mean, what happens now could change in an hour or tomorrow or whatever. So that's just all you can do. With that said, the put to call ratio is really not that bad right now. It's at 0.73. It's really not high. It's not extreme, so it's not leaning towards anything, any direction right now. Now is the economic calendar on Monday. Nothing on Monday. Tuesday we have some Fed speakers. We have Barr at 8 a.m. We have some news, trade balance, HPMI. I don't know what that is. Consumer confidence at 10. It's a little bit on Tuesday. Wednesday, let's see. Pending home sales at 10. Don't see anything else on Wednesday. Thursday, a little more active. We got final GDP, unemployment claims at 8:30 in the morning, and we get Yellen speaking at 3:45. So that will be a nice end of the day play on Thursday. Got to keep him remember that she's speaking at that time on that day. Also, every morning, always look at the economic calendar. I always look at the forexfactory.com, and I look at MarketWatch every morning, because sometimes a Fed speaker or Powell or Yellen or somebody will just appear out of nowhere and start speaking and just catch you off guard. It's happened to me too many times, and even me checking every day, something does manage to get by. So just keep that in mind. Always check the put to call ratio every morning and the economic calendar every morning. I do that every morning, so you should too. Now on Friday, let's see, we have core PCI, Chicago PMI, revised consumer sentiment Friday morning. So a little bit there on the Friday morning, but other than that, really not too much going on. We got Fed speakers too, so, and they end up changing a lot. I've noticed the Fed speakers right now, I'm only seeing Barr pre-market on which day? Thursday, but we could end up seeing more throughout the week, so just keep an eye on that. VIX, VIX. I mean, look at VIX. VIX's daily is just crazy. It's all over the place. It's got, a nice little inverted hammer right here. So we could end up seeing more side on the downside on the VIX. If the VIX does get hammered, SPY is likely going to chomp or pop more. And VIX can drop as SPY is chopping and going sideways or ranging. We've seen it so many times, and I've seen it so many times throughout the years. SPY can stay in the $2 range, and VIX can drop $1 just off from that. It's just how it is. So definitely keep an eye on that. VIX could get down to 20 or even down to 18 again this week. So have to see what happens with that SPY. It's all going to be, like I said, based on what happens news related. So now on the weekly, we still get SPY's inverted head and shoulders still active. You get the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. It's still a valid pattern. So the only way that this pattern is going to be void is if it breaks below the 355 area. So as long as it stays above 375, 360. I should say 365, the pattern is still valid. So I mean, we could still see a strong upside movement. I would imagine I'm just gonna look kind of like predict the future. If more banks fail, obviously I think the government's gonna bail them out, and that's when the market's gonna end up popping. So if that even happens, but all it's gonna take is one bigger bank like JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo, so a bigger bank to actually have liquidity issues or have some kind of issues whatsoever, the market could really freak out and just take a huge dump. So I would watch it over 400 for a push to 405. It gets to 405, we're probably going to see 410. Then we get 415. Then get 420. And if we get more bad news, I'd watch it underneath 390 for push down at 385, 380. 380's been like pretty much the floor temporarily for now, because it's been getting bought as it gets under 380 right here. But we lose 380 on like a bigger bank failing or more other news. We had China and Russia working together. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Maybe China could invade Taiwan at any point. I mean, that's been in the works for years, and who knows, that could end up happening when we least expect it, if it even happens at all. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that, one event could cause a huge black swan event. So we just got to keep an eye on between banks failing, China, Russia, Taiwan, and Iran, Israel, and Syria now. I mean, we get a lot going on. So all it's going to take is one big headline. Even North Korea, can't forget about North Korea. So a lot of craziness going on. We'll have to see what happens. But like I said, if it does break 380 based on, some kind of news event or something, that we could see 370, 360 really, really fast. So SPY, flip a coin right now. Patterns there for a bullish move, but based on what I've seen in the past, the more defined a pattern is, the market makers have these playbooks too. They know what these patterns are. They know what retail's looking at. They know what retail's going to do. So retail's looking at a bullish move. I mean, they could prop it up to make it look like it's going to have a huge bullish pop and then just slam it on you. So just remember, market makers are snake salesmen. They will make it look like one thing and turn around and slap you in the face when you least expect it. So just the more defined a pattern is, I think, to me personally, I think it's a trap, or at least a temporary trap, just to try to get retail in, then stop them out, take their money, lose their confidence, then dump it on them a little bit, then pop it. I mean, that happens all the time. We see it every day throughout the day, and I call it out in the room all the time. So definitely either or on SPY on that. So I'm watching both directions, obviously. Now Netflix has had a couple of big runs right here. Bounced right off the RCT trend line right here. It's making a nice little move up to the 330 area. Got rejected a little bit. And rejects here. And right here broke through because of earnings. And I know it's got earnings coming up in the next few weeks. But I don't know if it'll run into earnings and keep running to the 350 level, if it'll pull back. So to me on the hourly, it's starting to look kind of heavy. Gets out of the killer channel, pulls back, pops up. So I'm kind of leaning towards the more of the bearish side on this, because it's at near close to the top of the killer channel on the daily. Kind of get a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern on the weekly, get the left, the head, and the right shoulder. So means it could definitely keep going to 350, but I'm only interested if it gets underneath 325 or push down to 320, 315. Get a little bit. No, we haven't filled. Yeah, I think we filled the gap on that. Yeah, we filled the gap on that from right here. So yeah, definitely under 325 down to 310 to even 305 or 300. So be looking at the short side now. You can also look at the long side too, over 330, and it does get over 330. I mean, next big area is going to be 335. Got the 345 area. It's going to be pretty big, and 350 is going to be a big round number. So Netflix could keep going, so I'd keep an eye on that. But I'm only interested in the 325 or below on that. So NVIDIA, people are trying to guess the top. Yeah, I'm kind of watching it too, and I have been, and I called it last week on the watch list to watch, because it gets outside the Keltner channel. You're going to end up seeing some kind of a pullback. Now the full body candle right here is out. It did pull back a little bit. Then we had this exaggerated move right here from last week. Then 2 weeks ago. Then last week we just kept going. Now this candle, the full body candle, is outside the Keltner channel. So definitely think that we'll get a pullback now. Don't know if it will be right now this week or soon. I mean, look at full body candle outside the Keltner channel. It took a few weeks, then it finally pulled back. You don't usually see right here, full body candle out, pull back, full body candle right here, and it took a couple weeks to pull back. Anytime a full body candle is outside on the weekly, it usually does end up coming back in and pulling back. It's just a matter of when. It could be this week, it could be a couple weeks or a couple months. I don't know. I mean, same thing happened with Roku and Baba a long time ago that I was watching, or Baidu, I don't remember, years ago. They did the same thing, and it just, every time I kept trying to get the top, it just kept going and going and going, and it finally actually ended up working out. It just got it too early. But whenever I see a full body candle outside the Keltner channel, as I start looking, whether it's beneath it or above it. So NVIDIA, definitely keep an eye on that. Under 260 for push down to 250, 240, and down to the 225 area. So definitely keep an eye on the NVIDIA. Meta. Meta, I think, let's see, get it to load here. TOS has been loading very slow. Same thing with Meta. Full body candle practically outside the Keltner channel. So a huge gap up from earnings. It started to pull back a little bit, then it went back to new highs right here, and it's making an ascending wedge, riding the top of the Keltner channel up. I mean, it can keep going. It could definitely break out over the 207 and keep going more. Definitely could. If that's the case, I mean, you got 220, 225. I think it's going to have a hard time getting over this 235 area, and 250 probably be pretty much the top. But I'm looking at it, you know, full body candle outside the Keltner channel. I mean, look, well, all these kind of an exaggerated move from earnings, but when you get like right here, full body candle out, it comes back in, full body candle out, should come back in down to the 160, 170 area. So we'll have to see if that happens on Meta. Microsoft. Now Microsoft, I'm kind of like looking at this from a different kind of perspective. I mean, it's back up to the 280 area. I mean, it is at the top of the Keltner channel. I mean, it can definitely pull back more. I mean, it's got kind of an ascending wedge, a bullish pennant right here. It's flattening out at the 281, making higher lows. So I would definitely watch it over 281 for push to 285. Then you get over 285, you get this 290 and 300 area. So we'll have to see if Microsoft keeps going. Usually I would start looking for a top, but Microsoft could end up getting some more bullish momentum on this little pennant right here. So definitely keep an eye on that for more of a push. But yeah, I mean, it does like to reject the top of the Keltner channel, but sometimes, you know, momentum is strong, the market's strong. Microsoft could keep going a little more to kind of push it outside the Keltner channel more. On the weekly, Tesla. Now I'm looking at Tesla, I mean, because you get this push right here, and it's kind of bull flag right there, and it's coming back up to the 200 area. It hit 200, rejected, came back down to the middle Keltner channel on the daily. I got bought here, I got bought there. So I'd be watching it over you can even say 195 for push to 200. It gets over 200, we could see probably a nice little short squeeze out of that, or a nice little push to 205, 210, 215, 220. Also got a nice little inverted head and shoulders right here on the daily. You got the left, the head, and the right shoulder. So if it does manage to get over 210, we could see a strong push to 240, 250, even 260. Get a gap fill up here at 260. So Tesla could end up having a strong push. We'll have to see if that actually happens. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's all going to be very, very dependent on the news events that happen throughout the week and throughout the day and the night. So got to be in the room for that. And that's going to do it for the watch list. Thanks for watching.